Tonight on CTV News, tragedy in North Canterbury following a massive landslide. There's hope for the Christchurch Town Hall, and a racing car legend shows us the softer side of the sport.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening, and as of tonight, CTV News is now streaming live every night, in fact, at ctv.co.nz. And as we go to air tonight, Canterbury Police are now leading the recovery operation of a man buried under a massive landslide. He was engulfed when a rock slide this morning buried the excavator digger he was operating at the Pyramid Valley Engineering Lineworks in North Canterbury. Police say they understand 3 excavators were operating in the quarry when the massive face subsided. Now, we understand around 25 people are on site right now attempting to dig the man out, including Alpine Cliff Rescue, geotechnical specialists and representatives from Mine Rescue and WorkSafe New Zealand. Victim Support is also working with the man's family. Now, take a look at this next image. This was the scene after a car crashed into a construction site and rolled in Aranui early this morning. Now, no one was seriously hurt in the accident, but the car did manage to wipe out a power pole and smash through the side of a site building at Breezes Road. The male driver was taken to hospital with minor injuries and the woman was treated on site. Eyewitnesses say the driver was the only occupant of the car. Well, it's another massive story, and it looks like the Christchurch Town Hall will rise again, but at a cost of $130 million. That means only parts of it will be fully restored, with the rest having to be rebuilt to save costs.
Work to fully restore Christchurch's Town Hall could begin this month after an independent business case backed a $127.5 million repair. The decision to restore the iconic building was made by the council back in August 2013. The 1972 heritage-listed building faced extensive damage from the 2010 and 2011 Canterbury earthquakes and has been closed ever since. It has been said that the restored town hall will create new jobs, generate household income, attract and retain residents and support the tourism sector. The social and cultural benefits will also be equally as significant. However, there has been concern that the full restoration of the building will cost even more than the estimated $127.5 million. The cost would be met by an estimated $68.9 million insurance payout, and the council would fund the remaining itself.
Well, when it was opened nearly 100 years ago, it took centre stage, but the reopening today of the Woolston Park Memorial was a shadow of what it once was. Here's Chelsea Daniels.
The quake-damaged Woolston Park Memorial to fallen soldiers has been rebuilt. The building was erected in honour of fallen and returning soldiers who enlisted from the Woolston Borough for service in the First World War. Following the earthquakes in 2011, the memorial was damaged beyond repair and inaccessible to the public, until now.
From the time Council made the decision to press the button for it to go ahead was really a 12-month process. It's a great way to I suppose remember people that gave the ultimate sacrifice, really, and a lot of them would have been young, so they would have been hopefully the kind of sports people that we get through here. Unfortunately, would have been the people that would have died during the war.
The memorial was opened in October 1921 and cost a total of £950 at the time.
This one cost us about $400,000 to fix, and so if you looked at the original £950, I think it inflates up to around about $100,000. But again, we've modernised it, we've made it more fit for purpose. But it's interesting, we've tried to keep the footprint on the outside, the look of it, exactly as was originally built in 1921.
The attendance of the opening for the rebuilt memorial today was a far cry from the original opening, which saw a crowd of over 100 people and a performance from the Woolston Brass Band. The foundation stone has since gone missing, along with the honours board which proudly hung on the outside of the original building, names of soldiers killed in battle marked in gold lettering. No one could answer as to the whereabouts of the polished block of blue stone or the dark stained oak honours board that were 2 major priorities of the community board at the first opening in 1921. However, chair of the Hagley Ferrymead Community Board, Sarah Templeton, couldn't be happier about the positive effect the building will have for the players currently using the grounds.
It just makes it so much easier for them to have their sports games and things on the weekends. To have the changing facilities is a really key thing, otherwise it's a lot of gear and travelling for people.
Woolston alone had sent over 200 men to the war. Over 100,000 New Zealanders made the supreme sacrifice in World War I, with around 18,000 never making it home. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
And still to come here on CTV News, what it takes to run up and down the Himalayas, and a car racing legend comes to town.
With all the latest innovations in the world of technology, Shift has everything you need to stay informed and in the know. Shift, 2:15 on Monday, right here on CTV.
Opus is recreating the heart of Canterbury. From large-scale projects to commercial buildings. Your design, your vision. Opus.
Colour in your life. Colour Steel, the roof of New Zealand.
Diversity. No deposit. Instant finance. Convenience. Open 7 days. Austin Motor Company.
Drive It showcases the new arrivals to the motoring world, comparing and testing the latest models to discover which one is the best. Drive It, Sunday afternoons at 2:30, only on CTV.
And welcome back to CTV News, streaming at ctv.co.nz. Well, he's a racing car legend, and he's here in Canterbury talking to a local software company about his drive to success. Greg Murphy has taken Australia's brutal Bathurst titles numerous times and has taken up the softer side of racing too. Here's Jared McCulloch.
From this race win,
with 24 hours about to tick over, the first car to cross the line. Once the 24-hour clock has moved through, will take the win. It's Murphy with Tander right behind him against slow traffic, forcing Tander out wide. They come through VIP for the last time. We're looking at Greg Murphy in 05. He takes the win.
To this. Greg Murphy is taking to the track in style in front of keen Cantabrians willing to hear his story of success. The 4-time winning Bathurst V8 supercar racer is here in Christchurch, speaking to a number of staff and school children, encouraging them to chase their dreams just like he did in his teens.
I never envisaged that I was ever going to be a race car driver, all the way up until the point where it really became reality, which was, when I was sort of 19 at that stage, where I thought there was a chance that it could happen. And I suppose these days there's a lot of opportunities out there for everybody to be able to, take on and achieve what they want to achieve.
Jade Software employees got the chance to get close up with the sporting legend, with keeping fit being part of the company's values. And Murphy says he's impressed with the wellbeing concepts.
They've got a great initiative going on here at Jade where they bring some people in to talk to their staff and as I say, the school kids as well. And I'm fortunate enough to be invited down to do that, so I'm really looking forward to it and honoured to be here.
Murphy took out the biggest supercar race in Australasia back in the mid-90s, taking the checkered flag at the Bathurst 1000 Championship, seeing drivers get up to speeds of around 300 kilometres an hour. And since then he's taken the trophy 4 times, shortly after in 96, 97 and 2003. He's even competed in the Bathurst 24-hour race alongside the late Peter Brock, killed doing the sport he loved, and won that too. He's also had a few wins on this side of the Tasman too. Just last year he won the V8 Super Tourist Sprint Series here in New Zealand.
Winning on home soil in front of incredible crowds here in New Zealand at Pukekohe, and I mean the feeling that I got from that was in some ways a bigger feeling and something that was even a little bit more.
And that's a lot of achievements he wants to pass on to Jade's staff, saying anything is possible.
We're pretty fortunate here in New Zealand to be able to really take on whatever challenge you really want and have a go. And I suppose it is about taking a few risks, and I certainly took some risks, and and while the opportunity exists and while you have the time and those kinds of things, just go and fight for whatever you want to achieve.
And that's exactly what he did, taking up his passion for speed.
For me, car racing was really just a dream, and but a few things happened, and a few opportunities existed, and we ran with it, and it turned out pretty good. So it's talking about that, but I mean not everything's easy. Nothing gets handed to you on a platter really these days, and you've got to put the effort in to make it work.
But he says it's all about taking the necessary steps to make it happen.
You've got to be willing to give it a go, and I think if you do that and you leave nothing on the table, you're never going to be left wondering, and that's something that a lot of people don't like, to be outside their comfort zone. You don't like to maybe put things on the line, and there's good reasons often for that, but we're in a pretty good environment down here that offers opportunity for just about everything.
Murphy also stepped outside his comfort zone recently here in Christchurch. He took up the challenge of racing a rally car at the Canterbury Rally in the historic section, with this area of motorsport being something he's wanted to do for a long time.
I did Race to the Sky way back over 10 years ago, and was an amazing experience at the time, and just time and commitments sort of haven't allowed me to sort of explore that further until just last weekend at the Canterbury Rally, which came about after talking about it for a long time.
You may have noticed the lap time board, the uncool and cool wall, and even the Stig. Some of the key aspects from the hit British TV show Top Gear. Maybe the company is saying something, to be the guy to replace Jeremy Clarkson maybe. And although that's not the case, Murphy knows what he wants to achieve next, back at Bathurst.
I know what's next, another one. Yeah, always wins the next one, and it's been a long time since I won. It's been 11 years since I won Bathurst, and I always expected that another one was going to happen.
So you never know. It may be his time to shine again on Mount Panorama in the near future, but for now he's got his own challenge.
I think a few of them have been practicing quite a bit, though, from what I gather, looking at the timesheet so far, so I might be up against it.
He'll be wanting to take the fastest lap against the staff before he drives his way to the top again. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Well, it may come as a surprise, or perhaps even no surprise to parents, but nearly all accidents that happen to children are in fact self-inflicted.
When it comes to kids' injuries, it would seem they're nearly entirely self-responsible. Statistics released today by Safe Kids Aotearoa show of the nearly 4,000 kids' injuries seen by the Canterbury District Health Board, 97% of them were unintentional. Only 2% were caused by assaults or were self-inflicted. Nearly 2/3 of accidents happen to boys. Most of them were a result of falling, and most at risk are 5 to 9-year-olds. Fractures and cuts were the most common types of injury, and the majority of these happened at home. The statistics were taken over 4 years, between 2008 and 2012, and the level of admissions overall has reduced in this time. There were 41 children's deaths over this time, 85% of which were unintentional. However, 7% were self-inflicted and 7% were the result of an assault. Newborn to 4-year-olds are most at risk of unintentional death, with suffocation and sudden infant death syndrome being the leading causes of death. Every week, around 150 children in New Zealand are hospitalised with serious injuries from an unintentional accident, and a further 1 to 2 children are killed the same way.
Solar power, it's something we discussed on News Talk ZB today, and Canterbury apparently is now leading the country in solar power usage. Now the Christchurch City Council wants to get in on the action.
More Cantabrians are turning to solar power. Managing Director of Solar Living New Zealand says that electricity prices have risen over 80% over the past decade and are likely to keep rising. The South Island has the highest uptake of solar systems being installed, with a majority of users wanting independence from their electricity companies. Although the initial setup costs leave consumers out of pocket, it is believed that the venture is a worthwhile investment for homeowners. As well as electricity rates, property rates have been rapidly rising in Christchurch, making homes increasingly more expensive to run, and solar energy is providing some welcome financial relief. The ENA figures show 1,630 solar power systems were installed in the year 2013, but by March 2015 that number jumped 220% to 5,367. Canterbury has 16 solar connections per 100,000 people, well above Auckland's 10 and the national average of 12. And the Christchurch City Council is even investing nearly $1 million on 8 state-of-the-art solar-powered toilet blocks around the city. The Auckland-made Exiloos will replace earthquake-damaged toilet blocks at South New Brighton Park, Bexley Park, Avon Park, Cashmere Park, Duvershell Sports Ground, Le Bons Bay, Awaiti Domain and Heathcote Domain. The council chose to install the solar-powered loos as they did not differ much in cost, and the company installing them offers fast installation times and high and consistent quality. The project will take about 6 months at a cost of $970,000.
Well, running up the Himalayas for any Joe Bloggs can be difficult, but not for one determined Cantabrian. He's taking on one of the world's most extreme endurance events ever.
He's a man on a mission, and he's set to head to the world's most extreme marathon in the world. 40-year-old Kieran Berry is back in his hometown of Christchurch, recently competing in the city's marathon last weekend. But he's got another race up his sleeve, something he says will be a challenge.
It's the highest ultramarathon in the world, dubbed the insanest and craziest race in the world, and the toughest against all environmental conditions.
Currently living in Adelaide, Berry is taking on the La Ultra Marathon in the Himalayas, labelled as the Near Impossible Endurance Challenge. Running for a total of 72 hours, the course is divided into 3 even parts, and he's challenging himself to take on 2/3 of the race, a full 48-hour journey.
If I was to say to you I'm going to run 222k in 48 hours at temperatures of minus 10 to 40 degrees with 40% less oxygen than on sea level, it is crazy.
He's competed in a number of events over the years, some here and overseas. He took part in New Zealand's Coast to Coast a number of years ago and finished. He took on the Blue Mountains 100k challenge in Australia and finished. And now he's determined to do the same this time round also.
Not finishing this is another question. I will finish. The only thing that will stop me will be the doctors there and altitude sickness.
He has to face the extreme elements, high temperatures and reaching altitudes of around 18,000 feet. But he's prepared. He's got all the gizmos and gadgets to keep him on track, and he practices with this mask and gets quite a number of reactions on the street. However, he says it's all practice for the big day.
It is hard to breathe at the beginning. I did a run once where it's 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, and just slowly work into it. And then I did a 14k run, which really pushed the heart rate up. You look at your stats afterwards and it's like, wow, I pushed it.
From one extreme to another, Barry is an IT specialist by day, helping people with their computing problems. He even worked for the Canterbury Police in the recently imploded Hereford Street building.
So I did a stint there with the old police, which was amazing, and 3 hours before it blew up I took photographs of it, and it was amazing to see it go up, but it's part of Christchurch. It's slowly coming down, and I'm hoping that it will slowly come back up.
He's also writing a book about his experiences running, wanting to prove anyone can take up the challenge. He even has confidence in me with running.
I believe that anybody, able-bodied, can run an ultramarathon and can do. I mean, yourself can run 5k.
Challenge accepted, but in the meantime, he's ready to go.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge to push the body beyond. I've run in Sahara Desert for 7 days, and then I looked, what else?
The countdown is on with just over 70 days until he takes on the biggest adventure of his life, set to jet off in August. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And you are watching CTV News streaming live at ctv.co.nz. And still to come, sport and your region's weather. When you need to know what's happening in your region of Canterbury, join me, Chris Lynch, for CTV News First at 5, weeknights from 5, right here on your local channel, CTV.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, the fearlessness, the intensity. Runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishing as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishing, Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
And welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon with a roundup of the weekend sport.
The Canterbury Rams' playoff hopes took a massive blow yesterday after a loss to the Super City Rangers handed the initiative to the Aucklanders in the race to the top 4. The Rams got off to a slow start, trailing by 10 at the end of the first quarter. The second quarter was brighter for the side, who managed to get the gap down to 6 by half-time, but it was all the Rangers in the final 2 quarters. The Rams put up as many shots as their opposition, but shooting at just 36%, the team struggled to find any rhythm offensively. The 105 to 70 point loss means that the Rams are now 2 wins outside of the top 4, and with just 4 games remaining in the regular season, they will most likely have to win all 4 to make the finals. Well, still with basketball, where Rams big man Sam Timmins was on other duties, helping New Zealand to take out the World Under-18 3-on-3 World Basketball Championship in Hungary. The Kiwis eliminated powerhouses Germany, Russia and Spain on their way to the tournament final before defeating Argentina 20 points to 18 to take the title. Young star Ty Wynnard was named as the tournament MVP, with the future University of Kentucky player adding further hype to his basketballing credentials. The New Zealand's women's team were eliminated in the round of 16. Well, the Crusaders might have got the win on Saturday night, but their playoff hopes are now finished, with the Brumbies and Waratahs failing to slip in their own run to the finals. The side will take a lot of positives from the 34-point to 11 bonus point win over the Blues before looking to finish their season on a high in their final game against the Brumbies this weekend. The result was hardly in doubt throughout the match, with the Crusaders showing some clinical finishing, while the All Blacks coaches would be happy to see Carter once again looking comfy at 10, slotting 6 from 6 with the boot. The performance was highlighted by Nemani Ndolo's superb try, pulling off a miracle catch to get his side's first try of the night. And finally tonight, the Hawkins Cup went to Lincoln University for the third year running on Saturday, when they defeated New Brighton in the final round of the competition. New Brighton had a slim chance of taking the title, but needed a commanding bonus point win over Lincoln to have any chance. The teams now turn their attention to the Hawkins Trophy competition, with the top 6 finishers in the Hawkins Cup: Lincoln University, New Brighton, University, Marist Albion, Sydenham and Christchurch, all qualifying for the trophy competition, which begins this weekend. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks, Gordon. Now time for your region's weather.
Good evening, Canterbury. Well, it was a bit of a cool start to the day today, but that sun definitely came out in most places today. But let's start in South Canterbury. Twizel, 10 degrees for you today, was the coldest place to be in the region. Everyone else here, 15 degrees. As we go to the Plains area, Christchurch today, you're on 17 degrees. It was very cool though in Methven on 15 degrees. Everyone else here shared pretty much the main mid-teens. Let's go to North Canterbury now. Kaikoura, 14 degrees for you today, but the warmest places to be were Colvin and Amberley. So that's where you need to be in North Canterbury today. If we go to the Alpine region, it was 12 degrees, the highest here for Mount Cook. Let's take a look at the major cities for tomorrow now. Timaru, 16 degrees will be your high tomorrow, with some northwesterly winds and some cloudy skies, similar to today. Ashburn, you'll get the same as well, except your high will be 17 degrees with northwesterly winds. Expect some cloudy skies here and there, and that sun to come through later on. Christchurch, 17 degrees for you tomorrow will be your high. Again, northwesterly winds for you as well, but a low 10 degrees to start off the day. And Kaikoura, very much the same as well, except you will get a high of 15 tomorrow with some northwesterly winds as well. Well, tomorrow's temperatures for the rest of the region are looking pretty much the same, really. Twizel starts off on ends up with 11 degrees tomorrow with some rain here and there as we get into this part of the region now. 17 degrees for Leeston, but the cloudy skies for everyone here, and that rain will come through later on in the evening, so watch out for that. Very similar picture as well for North Canterbury. 15 degrees is the main kind of temperature here, except for Oxford on 10 degrees is your expected high tomorrow, and some northwesterly winds throughout the day. Alpine region, rain here for all of you, 12 degrees for Mount Cook and Arthur's Pass. So the upcoming days for the main centres around the region. A bit of showery skies here and there, not too much though for Timaru, Ashburton and Christchurch for Wednesday, sort of in the mid to late teens your high. As for Thursday, it sort of changes. We've got a nice 11, 12, 13 and 14. Fantastic, isn't it? Crazy how that happens. Southwesterly winds will be the case though there. Let's take a look at Wednesday's temperatures for the rest of the region. For the lower part of the region, there'll be mostly showery skies, but as you get further north, there'll be some clearing throughout the day. But when it gets to Thursday, that's going to change around a wee bit. The wind's going to change. There'll be some southwesterly winds, in fact, and that will travel all the way up the region. Everyone here getting similar weather with some showers here and there. Not bad for the next couple of days, I feel. Enjoy the fine weather while it lasts. But for now, that is your weather for Monday.
Thanks, Jared. And that is CTV News. You have a great night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.